Now, this is Wendy Warner in her studio in New Wilmington, Pennsylvania. And she had started this painting previously, and she has agreed to give her cousin Myra a little bit of a painting. What would you call it? Not lesson, but how you do your process, how you started the painting, what were you thinking, and that sort of thing. And when she starts talking, it's running. When she starts talking,
Okay.
she'll
Hi,
be
Myra.
more comfortable.
Hi, Myra.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. I'm working on a sheet of 100% rag paper. It's English, and it's a very nice texture and a very nice the way it absorbs. Now there's paper and there are papers, and some like this is a rougher paper than this one, so that it takes the paint differently, and you just have to experiment to find out which one is the best for you. I love this, but I spend most of my time working on this. It's easier to work in the field with it.
Why would it be easier?
I don't know. I think it's quite absorbent, so that when you first, I'll show you what we do, but when you first wet it's perfect, but then it starts to dry out, and then you have to catch the paper and get the paint on it at certain intervals so that they do what you want it to do.
And then it wouldn't run. You have to let it absorb.
A lot of times,
it depends what you want.
a lot of times, and I don't have any really wet ones that I've done. But anyhow, this one I started in the field, and I wet the paper all the way down, and then I start putting in the lighter areas first. And I wouldn't use, well, I might use this brush, like so. And this sky I did a little differently than I usually do. Normally I just will put a wash on and have it wet and then work into it. And then if I'm doing clouds and stuff, then it's easy to put the clouds in.
So would you do a white wash or just use the color of the white paper and just put wet over it?
No, you wet it first, and then you put the paint into it.
Okay.
And do whatever you're going to do with it. So anyway, that's that. And then this I only got, as far as you can see, with it. And this is a sketch to finish it. So this is the way the blossoms hopefully will come out work, and the tree. And then this was another small one that I did afterward in order to have the reference.
You stay with the lighter colors first?
That's what you do with watercolor. It's absolutely the reverse of oil. Oil, you start with the darks and works to the lights,
Oh, okay.
as a rule. And unfortunately, because I've always done watercolor, most of my oils look as if they were watercolors. Only a little heavier, a little darker. So anyway, you just paint from there. And with this one, I probably was using a smaller brush, but I don't know that I have it here. Well, this is close enough. Anyway, it's a little one it's a square brush.
Okay.
As opposed to round brush, which I'm sure you know all about anyway. But with the round brush, you can put in little things like this. And with this one, which I use a lot, because I could come in this way with my whatever.
Oh,
Like
more of
so.
an edge to it.
It has more of an edge, and as you can see here, that's what you call a hard edge, which means that this was not, let me see, this would have been drier. And when you put it in, then it edges.
Oh, because it's not blurring in by the...
It's not
melting
blending
into it.
Right. And that's the beauty of this paper, you can do that. So then you get that in, and then that color is, I mean, I've done the whole thing in that color.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just...
Oh, you overlay, okay.
Mhm. I took, this is not the conventional watercolor. I don't paint in the conventional...
We don't care.
American
We want to
water-
know how you color, how
Okay.
you do it.
But the American Watercolor Society is all hard-edged and dry and so forth, but I don't like that. So anyway, then this, as you can see, maybe, it's quite wet still.
Yeah.
And you just have to practice until you find out how much water and how soon you can do it, because if you do it too soon, it's going to run.
So you left where the trunk of the tree would be, you just left that
I
with
left
nothing.
that out, left all of this out because I knew I was going to be painting into it later.
And you penciled the little
Yeah.
sketches in?
They're pencil lines here.
Okay.
And then these are larger washes, as they say, and you could use this brush and bring it in like that. Same with this.
Well, how are you dipping in? How are you using the paint, the color? How are you
Okay, I have a
getting the color on the brush?
water
Put
jug.
it that way.
You do this, get it wet, and then pick up your colors this way. Or you can put them out there and do this. And you can mix right on the palette, which I generally do.
Yeah. And then, depending on if you want it to be a wash, the brush is wetter.
Mm-hmm. So that you take your brush out and you do this.
Before you get the color on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is great.
And then, you just keep working to your darks. And this is nothing is set in concrete. You do it whenever you want to do. And then once this has had a broad wash on it, then you can bring in these colors, the shadows. And then when it gets really dry, not really dry, that's the trick, then you can put in little things like this.
With a little thin brush.
Well, it'll be thinner than this, but you can see that the edges are a little bit harder, as we say. And then these are blendy, but it's nice to have a combination of more than one thing.
And that's how you see it in nature anyway.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And then the stone wall, of course, was just put in with a broad wash, and then it brought in the darker forms with it, whatever you want to do.
Very cool.
Hopefully, we'll finish this at some point.
Now, from when you started this, has your idea of what it should be, has it changed?
Oh, yeah. It
So when
morphs.
you sit down to work on it again, it'll be
Different than what?
different.
Yeah.
Because the sketch is just a gesture, right?
I'm not sure, where the blues are going to come in. These are much too pale. They're going to be more like that. Here, there, whatever. And then it comes into this tree, which will be lighter and not as detailed as this one, because its back is going to set back.
And then how do you make the transition, like when you're doing the trunk up to the limbs? So,
Well, if you have the paint on the brush, it's going to be darker down here, right?
where you first touch.
Where you touch it. And then you just come up that way, this way and that way. You might want to change your brush because you don't want...
It's so fat, right.
Well, you'd use a round brush more likely, this way. And then you do the same again here. And sometimes you just leave a little bit of light in there because the light hits it and it's light. Come in here and then you're going to get some sky in there. And so forth. Now, the other technique that I don't think I have a sample of it here anywhere, but it's called wet in wet. And it's not that kind.
No, I'm just showing some of the, this is beautiful.
Yeah, Thunderation, yeah, I must have something that's wet in wet.
And, if someone were using, like Myra's using the watercolor pencil at this point, she would approach it light to dark the same way that you are saying in terms of doing it in the real watercolor thing. And so basically the approach would be similar, just the medium would be different. Because she will lay down the color and then she wets it, I guess. I've never worked with them.
Well, I'm sure different ways of working on it, and I never had any lessons or any directions, but the way I do it is to do that, to lay down the lights and then bring in the darks, but then after I'm all finished with it, I wet it. Somewhere I have a sketchbook. Turn it off for a minute.
Okay.
See if I can